Everyone, and welcome back to the Coco Nomad channel, where I talk about financial and location independence, sharing tips, tools, and techniques to help you make a living and a life. So let's go ahead and jump into this particular segment, which is about my journey to FIRE. And I've made a few videos explaining how I'm approaching this, and I'll drop some of those links in the description so you can catch up if you are new to the channel. But this is the first report, doing a monthly report so I can track my status along this FIRE journey. And if you're not familiar with FIRE, FIRE is this movement for financial independence, retire early. Now, for myself, I'm only focused on the not retire early part because I don't care about that. The financial independence, the first part. So that is where I am. And what I've decided to do is to start to just document this journey and share some of my metrics, because I wanted to track my progress. And I do well when I have metrics to hit goals. I set goals for myself. It makes it a lot easier for me to get where I'm going, whether it's my financial fitness, my physical fitness, my education, anything like that. I mean, it's like, for me, it helps me know where I am and know where I stand and figure out where I need to improve. So let's dive into how I'm going to be doing this. And this is the first one. So in these segments, I'll be sharing how I'm sort of documenting this process and how things are going. And the first one I like to look at is that for me, I think is the important beginning portion, and that's income. So I'll drop a couple of links, one to how I'm handling this 10% rule for side income and the income streams I'm working on building for 2022. I'm just getting an early start. Figure there's no better time than the present. As that saying goes, the best time to plant a tree was 100 years ago. The next best time is today. And that's why I'm doing this. So if we look at my income streams, you can see that in July, I am very, very top heavy in terms of my one particular segment, one stream, and that is my consulting. I spent most of the last few years, I haven't had a full-time job in almost 6 years, like 5.5 years, and mostly just been doing consulting and some other things, like trying to build a presence in the App Store. And I've done some voiceover work and some other types of things to build income. And so right now in July, this is a breakdown of the streams that I have for the month of July. And it's overwhelmingly just my consulting, doing software development for small startups, which is basically kind of like where I specialize my niche. And if you look, there's only 0.5% from investment income. So I had some small investments, basically some dividend paying stocks and funds, and that provides about 0.5% of the total income I received. A little bit from digital products. That 0.4 is actually from my apps in the App Store. Not much, as you can tell. I'm not one of these App Store millionaires that you hear about but never meet, because there are not that many of them. And then finally, that last section is from merch. I design t-shirts like this one and sell them in the Amazon merch program or on Redbubble. And so those that percentage represents those sales. And again, I mean, those three that followed the consulting add up to just a little over 1%, 1.2%. So overly focused on the consulting or active work, and I'm working very hard to change that. So let's move into the next section of where I want to focus on every month. And I think this is important for me to build up that passive income and build that in the investment income arena, especially. And that is, if I'm not saving any money and putting it aside, then I don't have any money to invest. And if I don't have any money to invest, that investment money can't grow. So as you can see this month, the savings rate for July is a big fat goose egg, 0. I was not able to save any money. I didn't bill a lot of hours in the month of July for my client project. And as you can see from the other income streams, wasn't a lot coming in from anywhere else. So I definitely moving forward, have to change strategy and how I'm going to approach doing this. Now, this is a bit of a time warp because I'm filming this after the fact. I made a decision in July to go back to full-time work to increase my income, and actually have some other benefits as well, but that's what I'm doing to tackle that. And in some future videos, you will see the effect of that, particularly here, but also in the previous section in the income distribution. If you follow my income stream reports at all, then you already know, you've already seen some of that before. So it's a spoiler, you already are ahead. It's like if you read the Game of Thrones books before the show came out, you knew the Red Wedding was coming. So, it wasn't a surprise for you, and this won't be either. So let's move on. In the investment income, we can see here that my investment income is less than 1%, the return, and that is right now just dividends. Soon will be premiums because I am looking into doing options trading as well in the future, but I'm still learning, and that those numbers should sort of change. And really, again, trying to increase the amount of money I'm investing to increase the number and amount of dividends I'm getting each month. This does not include capital gains on the underlying stocks and funds. That's just over time. I just will let that grow. But I'm really, really interested in this, like, sort of really active, focused return every month that I actually have a hand in. I can't control the market. I can't control if it goes up. I can't control if it goes down. What I can control, though, is where I put my money in terms of dividends, getting those funds. I can purposely say, I know what dividends these companies are paying. And if they change and I can move them, I have control of that. And any other trading that I do that brings in premiums for options, I can control that. So right now, that number is less than 1%. Which brings me into runway, which is one of my favorite stats. This is, I don't know, it just came from, I used to use this a lot, just on my own, for my own business and consulting and just doing the App Store stuff. It was like, I had a bunch of savings at one point. If you saw my financial, the levels and stages of financial independence video, I talk about how I achieved the flexibility level, but then watch the money dwindle down. But the number that I always paid attention to was runway. Like, how many months could I continue to live if no money came in any form? No dividends, no active income, no supplemental passive income, nothing. How long could I sustain my current expenses? Now, my current number is 1.7 months. There's a bit of a caveat here. I am actually using a higher expense number than what I actually typically spend per month. And I'm doing it on purpose because I'm targeting a 3-year point in the future where I want to make sure this number matches that. So I'm looking 3 years in the future where I say my monthly expenses will be at a certain level. And I want to make sure that I'm going to hit that number, not the number that I have right now, because that number will oscillate a lot. I'm here living in Mexico. It's a little bit, my expenses are a little bit higher, but not as high as they could be. I may be back in Southeast Asia at some point soon, or in the Middle East, or in Eastern or Western Africa, any of those places where my expenses would be a lot less. And I don't want that to sort of skew my numbers up and down and start to thinking, oh, well, now I have 4 or 5 months of runway. It's like, no, let's target this constant number that's a future number in 3 years to hit my 3-year goal. So right now, that's 1.7 months. May not be a lot, honestly. Some people might be worried. But for me, I'm used to playing close to the felt. Doesn't bother me having the low levels. I may have overconfidence in my ability to find work and do those kinds of things. So I never really worry about it too much. But that's where it is now. My plan is not for it to stay here. It's just to be clear. It's for that number to go a lot higher, at least to 12 months, but probably closer to 24 to 36 months. And then finally, we get to the fire levels, the fire status numbers. Now, again, that stable is referencing the levels that I talk about in the levels of fire independence video, those stages. And then I also wanted to track my time to fire and my progress to fire. And my progress to fire is the percent to my fire number. I mentioned my fire number in a couple of videos of the coast fire number. This is my coast fire number, not full fire, because coast fire is where I'm going to shift gears and do some other things. But I'm not worried about my future at that point in terms of retirement long term. And I am at 2.9% of that number right now, and on target to reach that in about 5 years if things go the way that they're going or can go in the next couple of months, and I stay on this track. So I really want to kind of take stock of that and keep track of this and make sure that this stays My goal, of course, is for that fire level to go up. I'm going to move up out of stable, a drop down from flexibility down into stable. I got to get back up there. And my goal is to get there as quickly as possible within reason, not to kill myself with overwork, but just to keep marching towards that goal, keep increasing this percentage number to my fire number and as far as progress, and maybe even lower that time. That is there's a couple of conditions there. Some investments would really have to do well. Some of my side ventures would have to do well to kind of cut that number down. But a combination of those things might happen. So, but worst case scenario, 5 years, totally fine with that. Totally happy with it. So this is the first version of this for this report. And if you are interested in seeing more of this as I continue on this journey, and if you want to copy this, I'm not saying it's perfect by any means, it's not. And you might even notice, some smart people probably already noticed an error. If I didn't allude to it, but it was there in one of those graphics. And if you're interested, click the subscribe button, the notification bell, but also clicking the like button helps a lot. It really helps the channel, helps other people discover the channel. But if you want to have some feedback, questions, comments, how you're doing this, maybe some other interesting stats that I'm missing that I might want to throw in here and track. I'm a spreadsheet geek, so I'm more than happy to throw some more stuff in my spreadsheet. There's just never too much. So let me know if you think there's something else that I should take a look at, another number or metric that you find very useful. That would be great. I really appreciate it. And as always, I appreciate the support in the channel. Thank you for watching and supporting, and have an amazing time, amazing day, and best wishes on your own journey to fire, or however you want to, whatever financial success and life success you want to achieve. I will talk to you next time. Have an amazing day. Cheers.